Hey busy bees! I hope you guys are having a great day. Today is Sunday and we just released our first video ever in this kitchen. It's the Valencia latte. If you guys saw it, thank you so much for letting me know what the heck orange blossom water is. It sounds divine and at least now I know where to get them. There is a little Armenia nearby, so I think I'm gonna have to go check it out and get the real thing. So thank you for that. Today I am gonna show you guys how to make soondubu. I visited K-Town yesterday with Nate's cousins and it was so amazing. We went to H-Mart and just got all the Korean stuff to stock my pantry. So of course, I have to make one of my favorite Korean dishes, which is the soondubu. It's a soft tofu stew that's just so comforting and surprisingly easy to make. If you guys want to see awesome, delicious recipes, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up and please don't forget to subscribe below and we'll get right on into our stock. So to make this stock, it's super easy. You really only need 3 main ingredients in water. The first one is this seaweed. It's kombu, it's dried kelp, and depending on how much stock you're making, you can use a little or a lot. Usually for the amount of stock that I'm making, I only like to use maybe like 6 inches. The dried kelp comes in all different sizes, so really just gauge how much of that seaweed flavor you like. It really gives it that umami-ness. Like I said, I'm only gonna use about 6 inches, so I'm just gonna break it. Toss it in the pot, and then to give it that really distinct flavor, dried anchovies. Do you guys hear Erisy in the background? I think she's about to blow. But she's just playing over there. Okay, you can find dried anchovies at any Korean market. So what I'm gonna do is just take off the head, and then the head is usually attached to the bone and the body, so just peel that out. So just take out the bones and the body. This is like the bad stuff you don't want in there, and then you're left with little anchovy fillets. And of course, I'm gonna use about 6 of these. So basically, I use 1 anchovy per cup of water, which I will get into next. And then we have our next ingredient, which is the Korean radish, aka moo. I'm actually only gonna use half of this. Again, you only need maybe about a cup of this radish for every 6 cups. So that's a good gauge. A cup of that would probably be like half of this. So let me just go ahead and peel it. Then I'll just chop it in half. And then just to cook it a little better, I'll chop it in half again. Toss it in. And then finally, I'm adding 6 cups of water straight into the pot. The radish just rounds out the broth and gives it a very nice sweetness. Now, if you guys can't find all of these ingredients, what I would do is substitute for fish stock, which you can totally find at any grocery stores. Just be sure to add like a piece of daikon, which is also available at any grocery store. And if you can find it, the dried kelp. It'll really kind of like boost the flavor of the regular store-bought fish sauce and it'll totally work. I put the pot of stock on the stove and I'm just gonna boil it for about 25 minutes until the anchovies and the radish are nice and soft. I can already smell it. It smells like the ocean. Soondubu was like my gateway into Korean food. I remember in high school, I tried a Korean restaurant for the first time and this was what they recommended. It was comforting and cozy and I just loved the silky tofu that they used and the spiciness of the broth. Oh my gosh, it was so good. Have you guys ever tried soondubu before? Comment below and let me know. And also, where's the best soondubu to try here in Koreatown? So while the stock is boiling, I'm gonna mise out the rest of my ingredients for the soon tofu. Here I have an onion. I'm just gonna use half of it and cut it into small strips. Then I have 2 garlic cloves that I'm just gonna mince. And then I have gochugaru, which is Korean chili peppers. This can get really spicy, and this is actually where we're gonna get our nice hot spiciness for the soondubu. I'm only using 2 teaspoons here, which makes for a nice and mild broth. And finally, some protein. Really, any protein will do. You can use chicken, you can use pork. Here I'm using some beef that I've just sliced up very, very small and thin. Or if you want to just use vegetables and no meat, I really like with broccoli and carrots. It's really good. And oh, and mushrooms too. You guys, I know I used to do the hands down type of videos only, just because the space at home wasn't that big and I didn't have enough room to do this. But what do you guys think of this new format where I'm kind of doing it live and talking while I cook? Let me know. All right, our stock is ready. Look at the kelp, it like tripled in size. It smells so good too. But now I'm gonna start assembling our soondubu. Here I have an authentic Korean earthenware bowl that's just gonna go right on top of the stove. We're gonna cook the rest of the ingredients in here. I'll start by adding just a little bit of sesame oil, and then I'll saute my onions and garlic until it's nice and fragrant. Once the onion and garlic smells delicious, I'm gonna throw in the beef, about half a cup of kimchi, and my gochugaru, which is the Korean chili flakes. Now I'm just gonna cook this for about 2 minutes, just until the beef is barely cooked. Oh my gosh, this smells amazing. At this point, our broth is ready to go in, and I'm just gonna add enough broth to cover the meat all the way up to maybe about 3/4 of the way full on the earthenware. I'm making sure just to use the stock. I'm not getting any of the anchovies, kelp, or radish. You just want the broth. Perfect. Now that the broth has been added into the rest of our soondubu pot, I'm just gonna let the broth come to a rapid boil before I add in my tofu. I'm using this Soon tofu that's silky smooth, and I just need to cut the top right here and just kind of spoon it in. It's so soft that you really just don't need to cut it at all. And I like big chunks in there. Give it a taste and see if it needs a little bit more salt. In this case, I think it needs a little bit more saltiness, so I added in 1 teaspoon of fish sauce. You can also use kosher salt too if you don't have fish sauce. I'll let it come back to a rapid boil, and it's ready to serve. I think it's ready. It's boiling hot, and I'm just gonna bring it over to the counter and show you how I finish it off. So while it's still boiling hot, I'm gonna add in my egg quickly. Finally, I'll garnish it with some green onions, just to bring in some color. Perfecto! I got a little bit of everything in there. I have some kimchi, tofu, and beef. This is piping hot. Careful not to burn your mouth. Oh man, this is so comforting. What I like to do is serve it with a side of brown rice, and sometimes I'll add kimchi to the side, but there's already kimchi in here, so simple, I just eat it straight from the bowl. As for the egg, there's 2 ways of eating it. I like to crack it and let it kind of sink down and become kind of like a soft boil, but I know like my mom and Nate likes to just go in on it and crack it to kind of disperse it with the soup. So really, you can do it either way. Let's try another bite with rice. So good, so comforting. On a cold winter day, this would be perfect and so cozy. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this Korean recipe. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!